Why singles can't find love? First, chasing the wrong type. Very often, people confuse liking certain looks or certain lifestyle with true compatibility. For example, a man can describe that he is attracted to beautiful blondes with huge lips, big boobs. She has to be super glamorous, or vice versa. She has to be super natural, but has to have like naturally blonde hair, big green eyes. So he describes a certain look and he forgets about compatibility. Like, is this woman even willing to consider relocating to a small town in Germany, or for example, to a tiny town, tiny village somewhere in Utah? No, their lifestyles are way too different. So he likes the idea of dating such a woman. Or for example, he describes a certain look and he describes a very glamorous girl, someone who has invested lots of time, efforts, and yes, money into looking this way. Even if like she didn't do any surgeries, but you can tell that she takes great care of her looks. She dresses up really nicely, so she's wearing expensive clothing and expensive accessories. So you can tell that fashion means a lot for this woman. And he, for example, is not a glamorous guy. He can't afford to dress like that. He doesn't see any value in dressing like that. But he believes that she is his type because he finds her pictures very attractive. Of course, women fall for this mistake as well. She likes a certain lifestyle that she sees on Instagram or, for example, on TikToks. And she claims she wants to date only a person who owns a business, runs a business, only to be extremely turned off and disappointed when, for example, on their date, he's talking on phone because, well, they call him from work and his business is his first love. And she believes he should put that phone down for a girl he just has met and this is their first date. Well, it's not a good thing to be disattracted on the first date, to talk on phone, but certain people, well, it's part of their lifestyle. It is important and he won't put that phone down. And if she doesn't understand it, she should date someone who works 9 till 5 like she does. Second, waiting for fate, waiting for love to just magically happen, to find him or her instead of taking active steps and be logical. Many people believe that, oh, I should meet her when I least expect it, or I should meet him when I least expect this. So I don't want to try to approach someone. I don't want to write to strangers on Tinder. I don't want to text a man because I believe he should be the one, always be the one to text me first. And people waste lots of time waiting for fate and not taking any responsibility for their action, or in this case, lack of actions. 3, waiting for Insta butterflies. So he wants to feel butterflies with a profile, like really a dating profile. And again, many people confuse excitement and nervousness at the first date with true compatibility or simple infatuation or attraction to a certain looks, to compatibility. And when they don't feel fireworks or butterflies right on the first date, they dismiss a great candidate and they miss out. 4, classics, unrealistic dating expectations, waiting for a partner who is perfect on paper, but in real life is hardly compatible, even if this person exists, because usually it's such a mix, a true salad of different qualities that hardly can be found in one person. People romanticize the whole journey of meeting someone and they believe, okay, I have been single for so long, so I deserve to date perfection. I deserve to have someone perfect, so I'm not ready to compromise. I want her to have these looks, this personality, this type of expectations. Usually her expectations have to be super low or non-existent because she has to settle for a man who is neither rich nor famous nor very attractive, but she has to choose him back. Why? For no obvious reasons. She has to be as beautiful as a Victoria's Secret angel, but at the same time super modest, and she has to be super smart, or she has to be not smarter than I am. She has to act a certain way. And of course, real people, they don't fit into that box. You can't push a real person inside that unrealistic mold. And usually what people describe they want to see in their one and only love, in this perfect partner, well, they describe 10 different people. They describe 10 different men or women with totally different long-term goals, totally different aspirations, totally different vision of relationship, family, desire to have or not to have kids. For example, a man describes he wants to have a family, and she has to be this beautiful, this glamorous. She has to do all this to preserve her beauty, but at the same time he wants her to be super down to earth, etc., etc. And he describes a woman for whom her looks is her biggest asset, and she will hardly ever be willing to have 3 or 5 kids like he wants, because she doesn't want to ruin that waste, and her looks is her profession. For example, someone who has invested that much effort into her looks to marry up, and in his opinion, this woman should settle for someone who is not materialistic at all, and for whom, for example, the best type of vacation is going hiking and sleeping in the tent. So people can be delusional in their description what their perfect partner should be like and why she should choose him back. 5. Of course, we will talk about psychological blocks, fear of rejection. Okay, if he knows deep down that she is too good for him, he will sabotage the first date. He will sabotage the second date, because it is really important to say no to her before she rejects him. 6. Attachment styles. Avoidant singles, they would push a potential partner away when things get too serious, because, well, they are afraid of commitments, and vice versa. People with anxious attachment style, they will rush into a relationship. They will try to create a relationship and unnecessary drama right after the first or second date when there is no relationship yet. 7. Past baggage. You still compare everyone to your ex. You still haven't recovered after your ex. And sometimes people demonize their exes, sometimes they romanticize their exes, claiming that she is way more beautiful than the lady you, Svetlana, would want to send me up with. And in real life, it can be quite different, quite the opposite. But he still has feelings to his ex, so of course in his eyes she is the most beautiful, gorgeous woman. And also they have history, so he has seen her in different situations. So for him she is not just a picture, she is a person, and they have this long history together. So he still mourns what they had, that relationship, all the good things. And don't forget about so-called pink retrospection, when you think only about the good stuff and you forget why you have broken up, what were the reasons. 8. Low self-awareness. You don't actually know your own values and long-term goals. You don't know what is truly important for you in a relationship, and therefore you don't know what type of a relationship you want to have and what type of a woman wants to have a similar type of a relationship and can be a good potential match. For example, he has a friend who is married to a woman who is super successful professionally, and his friend is also a professional, and they both earn good money, so they are true partners financially and romantically. So his friend doesn't have to be like a solo provider. He's not providing for his wife. And together, because her income is quite high and his income is quite high, they can afford more. They can afford luxurious vacations because his friend pays for himself, his wife pays for herself. And they travel the world, they have a nice house, they have fancy hobbies. So this man claimed that I want to meet a woman who won't expect me to pay for everything. And at the same time, this woman has to be willing to have at least 3 kids with me, because I want to have a big family. And I want these kids as soon as possible, because I'm 39 and I don't want to be this old dad who is pushing 60s or like late 50s when children graduate from college. But he forgets that his friend, whom he has described, and his wife, who is so successful professionally, they are child-free. They don't have kids and they don't want to have children because their careers are very important to them. Their relationship is very important to them. They like traveling. They are into charity. So they have so many things in common. They don't want children. They don't want to have this responsibility. And he wants a woman who would be as successful professionally, as ambitious in her career, but at the same time, she has to have 3 kids. And at the same time, she has to pay for herself and for these kids because he doesn't want her to choose him only for the money. And when I describe it to this man that, well, hardly a woman who is super successful professionally will be willing to date a man who wants to have 3 children, but she has to provide for these children because he had these fears that she would choose him just for the money. I can't imagine a woman like that. He tells me something like, maybe I don't want to have 3 kids, maybe just 1, but she has to take care of it because I don't want her to choose me just for the money. So he doesn't actually know what he wants. And at the same time, he adds that I want her to be traditional. Like, have you seen that show like Ballerina Farm where she cooks everything from scratch? I believe I want to have something like that. And he's not Mormon, if you want to ask that. So I want her to cook everything from scratch because I think it will be good for the kids, for me, and I think it's very feminine. I find it very sexy and attractive. So a woman who earns good money, who has a career, she has to cook everything from scratch, has 3 kids with him, and pay for everything. Like, does it sound realistic to you? 9, bad communication. You're oversharing on your dates, or vice versa. You are very passive. You turn your dates into job interviews when you shoot a question after question. You interrogate your dates. You show up on dates feeling really tired, with low energy. You're not fully present. You're not flirting with the ladies. You don't know how to properly communicate with the lady, how to compliment a lady. You tell her something like, oh, you're really hot. And this is it. That's the only compliment she gets. And you choose to date someone good looking, someone who gets lots of male attention. So, of course, your poor communicational skill do not push this lady to be willing to go out with you because she compare the date with you to other dates she's having. 10, no real effort. Like, you have showed up on a date with really low energy. You didn't bring flowers. You were late. You looked messy, and even, for example, if you have managed to catch her attention, pick her interest because you were cracking jokes, or for example, you're good looking, after the first date you do not follow up, you do not text her, you don't discuss the second date right on the first date. Instead, you disappear only to text her like a week later, and she has already moved on. She is not interested. 11, I don't know how to show it. You stick only to online dating. You rely on apps. So you just text with the ladies. You have lots of correspondences, but you do not meet offline. You don't have real dates. And you dismiss dates because something she has mentioned while texting with you, you don't find it up to your standards. For example, you don't feel butterflies when you text. You don't actually go offline to meet women. You just stick to online dating, and very soon you lose all the connection with the reality because you start believing that all women look like Photoshop pictures that you see online without pores on their skin, and when you see real attractive women offline, you find them lacking. 12, inconsistency. You text like crazy for a couple of weeks only not to ask her out. Or for example, you go out on 2 dates and you text in between and then you disappear. Or for example, you download Tinder and you start dating, you go out on, let's say, 5 or 7 dates with new people, but you only have first date and never the second date, and then you delete the app. For example, you hire a matchmaker, but then you can't find the time to actually meet a woman with whom you had 3 Zoom dates, and both of you have shared the feedback that you have so much in common, but you can't find the time, or something came up. A friend has invited you to go surfing to Sri Lanka and you believe that, wow, I should do it, and Anna will wait. 13. You're not actually ready to find love. You like the idea to search for love. You like the idea that love is somewhere there for you and you can change your life. But in reality, you like your single life and you're not ready to compromise. You don't want any changes. So everybody is looking for love and you don't want to be missing out. You don't want to be that weirder who is okay being single. 14. Fear of losing freedom. Many men describe to me that, oh, I want to meet someone, I want to have a family, I want to have this and that, and then they can't compromise on a restaurant where to go out on a first date. She wants to eat Italian and I don't want to eat Italian. Or she wants to meet on Saturday and I don't want to meet on Saturday because on the weekends I usually go out with my bros, or on the weekends I usually hit the gym. And during the working week, like, she works really odd hours. So they can't even compromise at such an early stage of an acquaintance. So quite often men claim that they want to have a relationship, but even like tiny changes in their schedules or in their everyday routines or in their mindsets, in their attitudes, they scare them. 15, the last one, but not least, of course. You are not putting yourself out there and you are not ready to try something new. You stick to date a certain type of women. For example, you only try to approach women in a gym, or you only try to approach certain type of women online. You only date a certain age group or women with certain looks, or you only date those women who, for example, show attention first. If she has smiled to you somewhere in the bar, you will ask her out on a date, but you won't try to catch eye contact with another type of a girl and approach her. And of course, you are missing out. Guys, I hope it was helpful, and I hope I have given you lots of information to think about. I hope that you will be implementing my dating tips and advice into your everyday dating routine, because if you just listen to dating tips and advice but you don't actually use them, they don't work. My name is Svetlana Mucha. I'm the founder and the leading matchmaker and dating coach at Diolli.com boutique matchmaking service. If you are interested in our coaching and matchmaking programs, I will leave all the links below this video. Also, you can request a complimentary consultation with a matchmaker. There will also be the link below. Right now is the time to press like, to subscribe to our channel. You can support us by becoming a sponsor. I will also leave the link below this video. I want to wish you lots of love and fun and interesting dates.